Hello and welcome to Business Sense. I'm Ralph Rivas. For today's episode, we have Manish Bhai, the CEO of Uno Digital Bank. Uno describes itself as a full spectrum credit led digital bank, but I'm sure most of you are not familiar with this digital bank as they have yet to launch their app on Google and on the Google Play Store and the iOS. So, Manish, thanks so much for joining us and tell us more about this. About Uno, what are the features that you intend to launch, and most importantly, when will it be available?
Thank you, Ralph. Okay, let me start by giving a great news to you and all our audience out there. So we are actually already live as an operational bank since 5th of July, Tuesday, and we intend to go live in a commercial basis on a public launch in couple of weeks. So right now the app is being kind of again tested in a closed loop friends and family beta round, which is a prudent thing to do because we have pretty ambitious plan, and it's a pretty ambitious app in the very beginning. And once we are very satisfied with the beta, that's when we intend to in couple of weeks go to a full scale mass commercial launch. As you kind of indicated, so again to share with everyone, Uno identifies itself as a one consolidated interface to meet all your financial needs with speed and ease. So, what does that mean? It's one app which will allow you to borrow, save, transact, protect, and invest. I'm not saying that everything is available on day one, but these plans are very ambitious. And if you have ambitious plans like this, you need to ensure that your foundations are strong, whether in terms of KYC, whether in terms of collecting other form of data. You need to think about it from the very beginning, because if you are not planned well in the initial stages, you will inconvenience customers down the journey when you intend to add other products. And that's why we want to make sure during this testing process that we are gathering all the kind of information which we'll need to be able to really make a meaningful difference in terms of offering products which are just beyond savings and deposits. uh, Ralph, you alluded to Uno identifying itself as credit led. Absolutely. That is how we intend to differentiate ourselves. That's our key moat. That's the way we intend to stand out from multiple traditional banks as well as multiple digital banks which are looking to launch. I can talk
Yeah,
about more during the course.
yeah. Actually, I was gonna ask you about the difference because there's lots of digital banks already. For instance, Maya, PayMaya just recently rebranded as Maya, calling itself as a digital bank and more. And of course, there's Gcash and Union Bank and all the other traditional banks having their own respective apps. I can go on and on for with this, and there are lots of lending apps already here in the Philippines. So, how are you going to deal with competition, and what will set you Uno apart from the competition?
The beauty of fintech is that there is always more, and there will be more for everyone in its own different forms. Especially when you look at Philippines, the untapped market or the uncovered market potential is so high that there is an opportunity for multiple people. But one area where Philippines has highly lagged is financial inclusion specific to credit as well. Yes, Philippines is low on the spectrum when it comes to financial inclusion of banking accounts, with around 30 only 35 to 40% people being banked, depending upon which time and which report you look at. But when you look at the credit side, only 10% of the Filipinos borrow from the organized sector. And this is a huge kind of pain point. When you look at the multiple apps there, or even the traditional banks, yes, many apps and many other companies have tried to kind of have a go at lending, but there are not many success stories. And if there were success stories, these metrics and these numbers would have not looked as low as they are. So, as a founding team, we have experience in running balance sheets and experience in creating lending businesses in our previous organization. And we intend to bring that knowledge and that approach to make a meaningful difference in our approach of credit inclusion in the Philippines. So, time will tell, but in 6 to 9 months, we intend to make a meaningful dent when it comes to the credit lending spectrum. As I said, we are lending led, but it does not mean that we are not doing the other banking services. We will be highly competitive when it comes to savings accounts and deposit accounts, and we are already working on few innovative features when it comes to term deposits. I'm sure when we go into a public launch very soon, people will see our innovative term deposit structure. Similarly, on the lending side, we want to attack the market on both the fronts in terms of simplicity, that is, in terms of straight through processing, using electronic data as much as possible, and also competitive in terms of interest rates. And that would be stand us apart both from the traditional banks as well as the other digital lenders. A combination of rates and a combination of simplicity and agileness.
So Manish, who's your target? The middle income earners or the low income earners? What's the minimum credit line? I mean, I'm curious. Although you have not launched yet, who's your target? Because I'm trying to gauge as well. Who can borrow from it and by around how much? Especially now that, as you mentioned, that it's a very underserved. The Philippines is a very underserved market when it comes to credit line.
So our target market when it comes to lending is mass and mass affluent. Uh, that is anyone earning over kind of say 15,000 peso monthly income, and going all the way to kind of mass affluent segment. Uh, on the deposit side, and our market is actually beyond mass and mass affluent, because we feel that given our app and given our products, we are going to attract deposit even from the affluent segment. But I'll focus currently on the lending side, where we definitely want to over time keep moving the range lower, though we start with mass and mass affluent. As we establish ourselves, we intend to go much lower in the spectrum with lower monthly income levels as well.
Mhm. Now, the name Uno, meaning you want everything in this app, right? One app for all. So this phenomenon of the so-called super app, where you put lots of services in one app. Uh, why go this route? Why not go into a very specific one?
No, so I think there's a difference between a super app and a consolidated financial app. When we are talking of Uno, when we talk of Uno, we want to make sure that it is one place for meeting all your financial needs, a person's financial needs in a life's journey, which is savings, borrowing, transaction, protection, and investment. So if you call that as a super app for kind of financial services, yes, we are a super app for financial services. But in my definition, a super app is a slightly beyond that, when you are able to bring in even further services like lifestyle uh, and ancillary services into the domain, which is not our plan currently. We want to make sure that when it comes to financial services, when it comes to managing your finance, we are the bank of choice out there. And that is reflected in our vision, in our mission, and also reflected in our approach and in our name Uno. So let me digress here and speak a bit about our vision. So our vision is elevating you by making banking simple, better, and more accessible. And how are we intending to do this? We are intending to do this through this one app, which allows you to do all the entire financial services functions. Because we have seen around that people stay away from banks also because they find banking to be very complicated. You see, not only in Philippines but in any other market where data is available, the adoption to payments has been much smoother than adoption to banking or the adoption to wallets. And one of the reasons for that, it is more simple and convenient. But there is no way banking can't be made like that. So every step, whenever we are thinking about our product, whenever we are thinking about innovation, we are thinking of simplicity. And that's why we put it in our vision. Similarly, there is a need to make things better. And now better is a very wide terminology words. Better can be better customer experience, better economics, or better products in itself. And we intend to bring all the three to our customers. And when I say more accessible, means we want to deliver banking through one consolidated interface through your daily life mechanisms. The Uno Bank can be available to you as a one app of Uno itself, or it can be available to you through other partnerships and mechanisms. But that is one point where you are able to do your life's financial needs. You
Mm.
touched on Uno. Yes, we with Uno we intend to follow our dream of course when we say Uno we intend to be number one in what we do. But as you rightly pointed out, from one app uh, to making sure that we are able to approve credit ultimately in 1 minute once all the information has been fed in and your form has been put in and you press submit. Our goal is to be able to make that decision within a minute, and on hopefully successful decision as long as all the parameters are met. uh, and similarly trying to simplify life by having one product which meets your need as much as possible rather than complicating it by various products. So that simplicity and the zeal to stay ahead is what we want to deliver through Uno.
Mm. Now, any targets that you can disclose, and how concerned should competition be once you guys launch? And is there a target percentage on the market share?
See, as you pointed out, every digital bank here or traditional bank have their own strategy, uh, and people are pursuing their different strategies around that. Our strategy is more focused around credit. Uh, our target is that in the next 6 to 12 months, we are able to expand a portfolio significantly, are able to try and test uh, well in Metro Manila, and then start expanding to the other regions in the country. Uh, in terms of the wallet size and the market, as I said earlier, my belief is that the market is so untapped, specifically in terms of when it comes to credit, that there is an opportunity for multiple players to coexist and go after the same market. That's the way how I look at it.
Mm. Now, managed traditional banks are quite hesitant. I mean, I've seen it historically. I mean, I experienced it personally. It's quite they're quite reluctant to lend some cash, even though they're a bank, right? So because it comes with the risks. So from your analysis in the Philippine market, can Filipinos pay up? And is this market mature enough for a company like Uno to risk yourself and lend money to Filipinos, especially in the target market that you're aiming.
So Ralph, see, there will be few bad actors in every country, in every company, just like there are few bad actors in every company. Now, to it would be unfair if the whole group of Filipinos are branded as someone who are unable to pay. And I think that's where a proper credit policy, a proper credit analysis, proper mechanisms of how you underwrite, whom you underwrite, and how you collect is what is able to differentiate one from the another. It would not be fair to say that Filipinos won't pay up. It is important to kind of segregate where the likely risk of non-payment is reduced. Yes, this is a market where the collection laws are weak. There have been instances where there have been multiple instances where people don't pay up, and as a conservative approach, the whole lending practice has become very conservative. The point which you alluded to, that there is huge amount of surplus liquidity into the system, and companies have refrained from lending because of non-surety of getting the collection back. So on one side, while it has provided a safe haven for the companies, but at the second hand, what it has done, it is forcing many well qualified borrowers who have the potential to pay, uh, without an option but to retort to unorganized sectors, or to retort to other digital lending apps, or other forms of borrowing where the interest rates are very high. Now that's the segment, that's the gap which we are trying to bridge. Let me give you a data point. If you look at the credit card, in the country, it's only around close to 5 million people have credit cards. Total credit cards are around 8 to 9 million, when you account for duplicate credit cards. So when you talk of in a population of 110 million, just 5 million people having credit card, I don't think it is a true reflection of the country that only 5 million people have the ability to pay. And this is assuming that everyone in the credit card will pay back the debt, which is not necessarily the case. So there is an opportunity to kind of really hunt out and look at the next 10, 15, 20 million possible people who have the ability to pay. As long as reasonable interest rates are charged, and understanding the right understanding about their intention to pay and capacity to pay is put in place.
Mm. Now, can you discuss some numbers? Within a year after your launch, do you have a target number of users, or the amount that you intend to lend for the year or the next couple of years or in the medium term?
I can share with you that in 3 to 5 years we intend to build a book around 1.5 to $2 billion portfolio.
Mm. Okay, that's well,
That's
looking for.
very that's a very ambitious number.
Yeah, it is. It is. So I, so I don't know if you caught it, but I was stunned to speak for a couple of seconds there. That's quite big. So
Yes.
looking forward to your launch now. Any tech trends that you think will be a hit in the, or is currently being a hit right now in the Philippines, and that Uno Bank can take advantage of? Any tech trends or any market trends here in the Philippines that you think is booming?
So I will talk a bit beyond just the tech trends, a bit on also the enablers. So no conversation of digitalization is complete till you talk about what's happening globally and in Philippines about the payment, digitalization of payments. So that's a huge trend out here. If you look at digital payments, used to be single digits. Now they have gone to kind of mid 20s. And as the ex central bank governor uh, had put in his plan, he wanted to see by 2023 uh, the total payments in Philippines, at least 50% of that getting digitalized. And I understand we are progressively and comfortably moving towards that segment. The second trend, which we have seen as an extension of payments, is the adoption of digital wallets. So while digital bank is still relatively a new concept in Philippines, but the boom of digital payments bodes very, very well for the growth of digital bank. Uh, Today, when you look at Philippines, the four large traditional banks still have 50% of the market share. So when you look at it from that perspective, there is ample room for all the digital banks to kind of grow. And we have seen the growth, like few digital banks have launched earlier than us. The first one existed from, I think, 2019 onwards, and we have seen slowly but surely there is an increase in digital adoption. So that trend will only accelerate. It will accelerate much more in the coming years.
Mm.
The other trend, which again, let me talk some numbers. The overall e-commerce growth, because everything is linked. If there's a growth in e-commerce, there's growth in digitalization. The e-commerce, which was under 2 billion, the value of e-commerce in Philippines is expected to grow by 2024 to close to 7 billion. Uh,
Mm.
Similarly, total fintech transactions are expected to grow from 10 billion to close to 25 billion plus by 2024. So this all bodes very, very well for the growth of digital bank. In terms of some other data which I was reading, which has been quoted in Philippines, there was a Google report which mentioned that the digitalization and the digital transformation efforts in the country is going to generate additional 5 trillion peso worth of economic upside by 2000 kind of 30. Uh, so these are very, very strong trends. The other trend, which is not directly a payments trend or a numerical number, uh, but it is very important, is the trend of one national ID. Uh, that I think that is a key game changer. The PhilSys will once the PhilSys is fully functional, operational, and once each and every bank or EMI player or fintech player is able to authenticate uh, an individual using the PhilSys, as it happens in many other countries by using the equivalent of a national identity, that will be a game changer when it comes to both banking and lending.
Mm. And on that note, thanks so much, Uno Digital Bank CEO Manish Bhai, and really looking forward to the launch, the official launch, which will happen very, very soon, as you said, right? So again, looking forward to it, and looking forward to the features, and congratulations in advance. This has been another episode of Business Sense. I'm Ralph Rivas. Thanks for watching.